Looking back on my life so far, if I had to pick a few favorite teachers, a couple come to mind. The first I'd say is Clayton Christensen. Maybe that's an obvious choice for me since I co-founded the Clayton Christensen Institute for Disruptive Innovation with him. But Clay really opened up my eyes to a whole body of work around innovation and really started to explain things that hadn't made sense, not just in business, but in the world more generally. And he became an incredible mentor to me, an incredible person who has carved out my life's purpose of making sure that every student has the opportunity to build their passion and fulfill their potential. And he's the nicest guy in the world and one of the smartest that sees patterns and brings it to life in stories. And I always liken him sort of like an Abraham Lincoln. The stories about Abe Lincoln were always, he would start speaking and people would be like, this is the great orator, because it was a high-pitched voice and it wasn't that rhythmic. And slowly but surely they'd get into his rhythm and his voice would start descending and you'd get enraptured with his ability to tell stories. Clay is in some ways similar. He starts speaking and you're like, what's special? And by the end, you just can't believe he stopped because you're hanging on to every single word, every single moment, and every single story has a purpose and drives a lesson. And I really do think we tell through stories, and Clay is the best at utilizing that. A second teacher that comes to mind is my fifth grade teacher, Mrs. Chism, Vera Chism. Fifth grade was a fun year. It was the last year of elementary school, and Mrs. Chism just invested in her students in ways that I can't remember any teacher having done. She would always stay after class, after school for hours on end. For me in particular, feels funny now, but I won the spelling bee at my school and got to go on to county regionals, etc. And she, during her lunch break, my lunch break and so forth, she just sat with me inside the classroom, skipped recess for a few weeks in a row, and we just practiced and worked together. The fact that now I recognize what dedication that must have taken, and that she would do that for me, just remarkable. And that she would put in that time and show, I believe in you through giving something up to help make you better. That's what teachers are supposed to do, to educate and inspire and help lead forth. The third teacher I would say is my dad. I think we know this intuitively, but that parents are sort of our first teacher generally, and my mom and dad were both no exception, but I'll just highlight my dad in particular because there were a lot of moments where I would show him a paper that I thought I had proudly written for school, and even after I'd turned it in, he would take it back and just tear the heck out of it and show me all the grammatical things, the story shaping things, the elements of writing that I could have done better, and constantly would work with me. For speeches, he would literally drill me for hours on end, getting the diction exactly right and the phrasing exactly right of how I might say a line. Literally hours on end. It felt like it was his project sometimes, but he worked so hard with me that writing, which I don't particularly think is a natural talent of mine, but it's obviously something I do, I learned it from him, and I'm eternally grateful that he helped me become a better speaker, become a better public performer, and gave me the values to be a good citizen.